Is this going to be another one of those? No, it isn't. Welcome, folks. Come on right in. For a moment there, I thought I was going to be the only one here today. As you can tell, there are no students. It happens. I never know from day to day who is going to be here. They have no way to communicate this to me. Nobody has their own little telegraph to send messages back and forth. And besides, it's that time of the year when, although it is January, things still have to be done on the farm. And we may get to that a little later. As long as you're here, and I'm glad to see every one of you. If anybody's new here, a like and subscription would be appreciated. And that's where we're going to begin today's little talk. This channel is still pretty new, but it's gaining some traction, and I'm pleased about that. There are about 36 subscribers, thanks to all of you who do that. And there's about 700 likes so far for the episodes. Can't complain about that. I think for a channel as new as this one, this is pretty good. But it's a new year, isn't it? Of course it is. It's January. We started this new year about 17 days ago, thereabouts. What's going to happen with this channel during the new year? I thought that might be of interest to some people, so I've been making some notes. What will or will not be happening or could happen. And I have to admit that before I say what's going to happen here at the channel during the new year, I'm going to have to choose my words carefully because there's this bad habit of saying that this has happened a lot of times before, not always associated with this channel. I'm going to do something. I'm going to do it right. I'm going to do it well. I'm going to get everything together and just go ahead and do it. But it seems like there's this family of gremlins who come along behind me with tools, like this here draw knife. I build something, I try to do well, and when my back is turned, they just come in and pare it down with draw knives and other knives, and if they have a monkey wrench, there it goes, and the whole thing just goes up in smoke. So this is going to be more of a prediction or a resolution. Of course, we know how New Year's resolutions go. So let me put this down before I hurt myself and just try and explain what in a best case scenario could be happening here. And a lot of this is in the forms of questions. For instance, are we always going to be here at Kemp's Ford School in every channel? Ideally, no. I've worked other sites at the park. There was the Houts Barn. There was the Sloan Grist Mill. That was fun, occasionally dangerous. And there are stories there. There's knowledge there, history there. There's also the Ray Barn, although most of what I did at the Ray Barn was get a shovel and muck out the hog pen. If you've never done that before, you're not missing anything. But it still has to be done. Somebody has to do it, and occasionally it's my turn. What else? Will we always be here at Explore Park, of which Kemp's Ford School is a part? Well, ideally, no. I've worked other places. I worked at a National Historic Site down in South Carolina for a while and got paid. That was nice. Although my title was not interpreter. It doesn't matter. It still shows up on the check anyway. And it was interesting. And we'll get to that with any kind of luck. I've been at various places doing this and that. Most often, it's not for pay. It's a volunteer effort. But that's okay. Volunteering is fine. And it's fun as all get out. And will we always be in the 19th century? I've done things other than the 19th century. So if the year lasts long enough, we may get to them. And I think you'll find them interesting too. I did. That's why I did it. It's fun. You can probably expect some changes in the class roster. We've discussed how attendance is voluntary here before. The students come in, the students leave based on what the head of the household, typically Daddy, says. When he says, time for you to go to school, you go. When Daddy says, you have learned enough, there's no point, you've been there 2 months now, 5 months, 10 months, year and a half, whatever Daddy says, that's what it's going to be. And then they go home. There are questions around that. Are there graduations? Do we throw a party? Balloons? Is there any sort of celebratory activity for graduations? That's one of the questions that sometimes came up when I was working at the park here at the school, and we'll get to that. There are lots of other questions, such as, what's this right here, this board hanging from the wall? Does it have a purpose? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Have I ever used it? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. In my younger years, it was used on me, not that same one. That'll generate some interest, I'm sure. What else are in my notes? Oh, yes. Will there be any more Turon stories? Oh, yeah. Sure. If you've ever done this for a living or volunteer, or well, it doesn't have to be historical in nature, you're probably going to run into Turons. Tourist and moron. That's the origin of the word Turon. And we've discussed Turons before. We've done one episode on Turons earlier in this series on this channel. And as long as there are people, there will be Turons. And they will have some stories. Sometimes hilariously funny. And one comes to mind that was potentially dangerous. Right. So yes, there will be Turon stories. God love the Turons. Oh yeah, will I ever get my new hat? Maybe. Maybe I can make it to Rocky Mount or Boone's Mill, or maybe that sprawling metropolis known as Floyd. But that's largely dependent on transportation. I have no transportation of my own. I am completely dependent on other people for my transportation, like to and from Boone's Mill and such. But as long as the Matthews still owe me 72 cents, and the Minnixes owe me 60 cents, and the Hills owe 18 cents, and the Ellisons owe $1.10. And the Masons owe 52 cents, and the list goes on and on. The widow Maxie owes 42 cents. We've discussed several times before how a teacher gets compensated. And of course, bottom line, nobody ever enters the teaching profession with the hope, delusion, of making a great, huge bucket of money. I'll be happy if the Ellisons, who owe me $1.10, would cough up. Would be nice. Then I might get a new hat. But really, at this time of year, I'd rather have an overcoat or something to keep me warm, because the fireplace is nice, but there's the walking to and from various places, home to home, that gets old and cold real quick. So, Also, something else. This school, or any other historic site within the park, does not operate in a vacuum. There's a world beyond the boundaries of the park. Things are happening. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. Many a time they will affect whatever's going on around here, and we don't even know that. So it might be nice to give a mention to what else is happening out the big there. There's a lot of there out there. What's going on out there? Or even just down the road. We may find out. I'm hoping to find out. And, well, that's quite enough, I think. That was a lot. If I can get through a half of that this year. Did you hear a gremlin? I thought I heard a gremlin, or maybe two or three of them, snickering. I'm sure I'm going to have to keep my eye out for them. But in the meantime, again, thanks to all of you who have supported the channel this far. I hope to continue to support. I hope to continue this channel for a long time. This is a channel predominantly about history, and there's a lot of it out there. A good deal of it rarely explored. And those are the places I like to go to. Because they're fun. You find all sorts of things you didn't think you knew before, or think could exist before. But that's for another time, sometime. Thank you very much for being here. Hope I earned a like and subscription. And since the children are not here, I can't stay here. I have to make myself productive somehow. So we'll go, let's see, where am I staying? I start a new Minix. I get to stay with the Minixes starting tonight. They only 60 cents. Wish me luck. In the meantime, thanks very much for coming. Hope everyone's doing well and continues to do so in the new year. I certainly hope that this new year is better than last year for you and all parties concerned. And until... no, I know I need a new hat. It doesn't fit my hand anymore. And until our trails cross again, pardon me while I pick up my hat. It's not worse for wear. Until the time occurs when we are crossing trails again. As always, I have the very particular honor and privilege to be your most respectful and obedient servant, Dave Diggs, coming to you once again, and hopefully for a long time to come, coming to you again from a long time ago. Thank you. Do take care of yourselves. Peace. And here I come.